Hi guys and welcome to my channel. So today we are back to create this book. When I saw the prompt for an upside down page, my mind immediately went somewhere else, above and below. And suddenly this wasn't just going to be an upside down page anymore. I started imagining tiny worlds and a tiny explorer mouse who could travel between the two sides, discovering new places, collecting resources, finding hidden treasures, and maybe, just maybe, making a few friends along the way. So, I decided to create 8 little worlds for him to explore, 4 above or upside, and 4 below or down. And because this was inspired by the Above and Below board game, I wanted each world to feel like it had something my little explorer could actually discover. There are resources to collect, gold, crystals, mushrooms, and other little treasures, and every world has its own personality. And for all of these little worlds, I used lone fawn stamps. Well, almost all of them. Because apparently, despite having a ridiculous amount of crafting supplies, I had absolutely no mushroom stamps. So, the mushrooms, I had to draw those myself. Which kind of feels appropriate, because apparently even a tiny explorer needs a few handmade resources. And of course, none of these little worlds would exist without a ridiculous amount of coloring. For this project, I used my Decotime alcohol markers. And if you've ever wondered what my alcohol marker collections look like altogether, I have a video for that. I actually filmed a swatching video of all of my markers, so I'll leave that linked for anyone who wants to see the entire collection. And yes, having a marker collection somehow still didn't include a mushroom stamp. The coloring itself took almost 4 hours of footage, and I know nobody wants to watch 4 hours of me coloring, so I sped the process up quite dramatically. But I still wanted to keep as much of the actual coloring journey as possible, because watching these little worlds appear from simple line art is honestly one of my favorite parts. Now, let's start above ground. The first world is Forest Glade. This is the quietest place of all. A tiny fox sitting beneath the stars, surrounded by trees and a kind of peaceful little landscape where you could probably spend an entire evening doing absolutely nothing. And honestly, I think our little mouse might need that sometimes. Then we have the bakery, because every great adventure needs food. This is the warm, cozy little corner of the world where our explorer can stop for something delicious, rest his feet, and enjoy a little bit of peace and quiet before heading off on his next adventure. No quests, no monsters, just freshly baked food and a quiet place to sit. Next comes the Woodland Library, and this one might actually be one of my favorites. It's a place to read, learn, discover, research, and collect information for the adventures ahead. Because if you're going to explore an entire world, you probably want to know what you're walking into first. So, our little mouse can come here, find a book, learn something new, and perhaps stay much longer than he intended. And finally, on the surface, we have the village. This is home, a place where our little explorer can sleep, rest, recover, and prepare for whatever comes next. Because even the smallest adventurers need somewhere to come back to. But then there is the other side, because this page is called upside down for a reason. And when we turn the book upside down, our little explorer enters a completely different part of this world. But I didn't want the world to be scary. I wanted it to feel enchanted, mystical, and just a little bit unexpected. Maybe there are creatures down here that he's never seen before. Maybe some of them will become his new friends. The first world below is the Mushroom Grotto, a hidden cave filled with enormous mushrooms, little pathways, and things waiting to be discovered. And this is where my complete lack of mushroom stamps became a problem. So, instead of searching for one, I grabbed a pen and drew the mushrooms myself. Sometimes you just have to make the thing you don't have. And honestly, I think our little grotto needed them. Then we have the Batcave. And no, not that Batcave. This one belongs entirely to our little world. It's dark and mysterious, but not frightening. Just another hidden place filled with creatures and secrets waiting for our explorer to discover. Then we arrive somewhere completely different. Fairyland, a place where life grows underneath the surface, where tiny plants and flowers fill every corner and fairies fly freely through the world. This is probably the most magical place our explorer will find below. And I like to imagine that he doesn't just pass through here. Maybe he stays for a while. Maybe he makes new friends. And finally, we have the forgotten village. Once upon a time, tiny houses stood here and tiny people lived in them. But eventually, the inhabitants left. The houses remained, and so did the ghosts. But these aren't scary ghosts, they are actually quite happy. They've been alone for a very long time, so whenever someone finally comes to visit, they are absolutely delighted. And I think our little explorer might be their favorite visitor yet. And this is how one simple prompt about turning a page upside down became an entire little universe. 4 worlds above, 4 worlds below. Eight places to explore, resources to find, creatures to meet, books to read, food to eat, treasures to collect, and probably a few adventures along the way. I think our tiny explorer is finally ready. So, which world would you visit first? Let me know down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and even consider subscribing. Until next time, bye guys!